Another day passes and another, and then my hunger wakes up before I do. I must stand up and live, or lie down and die. I step out of my hiding spot and shake out my fur in the sun. I stretch back legs in front. My wounded shoulder is better. I wade along the rocky edge of the stream. The uneven ground that was agony to walk on before is not so bad now. I smell for some sign of deer or elk that water here. My heart sinks even as I do. The whole time I lay hidden, nothing came to drink. The canyon walls are too steep and the shore too rocky. I can feel the loose skin of my belly sway as I walk. Far above the canyon walls, I see the silhouette of a raven. I bark a call just because it has been so long since I had anyone to talk to. The raven calls back. She circles down and lands beside me. She has the same bare patch on her chest as my raven from before. My raven! She struts the length of me, and I stand tall to show that I am stronger than when we first met. The rattling call of the kingfisher makes both of us jump. It flies low over the stream. It keeps saying the same thing over and over, loudly. It hovers like the tiny green bird on the prairie did. Then it dives into the water and emerges with a fish. Good trick. I am hungry. Just as I am considering what a wolf could do to persuade a bird to give up her kill, my raven takes off, circling upward. She swoops down the stream. She is twice the kingfisher's size. She knocks it sideways and it drops the fish. The raven dives, quick as a darting dragonfly, and snatches the fish before it hits the water. Great trick! I am so hungry. My raven lands by my side and makes me an offer to share her food, but the fish is small. I move down to a quiet pool where I do not have to hear her and the kingfisher yell at each other over less than a mouthful of fish. I drink. There is something in the water, something big. I cannot smell it, but I can see it moving, speckled blue against the speckled gray stones in the stream. I have seen bears do the trick of pulling fish out of a stream. I crouch, stare at the water. I do not know how deep the water is. I only know that I am hungry. A bear can lift a fish from water with one slap. I give it a try, but the water is too deep. The fish makes a dash for cover. I jump in, jaws open, and hopes high. 3 bites come up empty, and then I have him. Water fills my nose and ears, and I scramble blindly for the shore. Water streams from my fur. The fish is bendy in the middle. It flaps my mouth like no elk or deer or proper food would. Father would turn his back to me if he saw me like this. Sharp would laugh. But I am hungry, and they are not here to help me hunt. I drop bite the fish on the rocks, and in time it holds still. A fish is crispy outside and squashy inside. The bones are so small they tickle going down. It does not taste like food, but it fills me up just the same. My raven is happy to eat the head and tail. I wash the odd taste from my mouth and take my fill of water. The raven flies downstream away from all I have ever known. Here between the canyon walls, I cannot see my home ground, or smell it, or hear the grounds I have grown up with. Even so, I can feel the mountains tug at me. They turn me around, but there is no one to go home to. My raven circles back, swoops around my shoulders, brushing my fur with her wing tips. She alights on a pine branch, tilts her head to the side, chatters to me, and then flies downstream. My father followed ravens. I turn away from my home ground and go where she leads me. We travel along together, leaving the black river and cruelty of men far behind. We look for springs and trickles and pools of water where I can hunt what comes to drink. My raven is always at my shoulder, ready to share the meat I have opened, whether it is fish or rabbits or striped-tailed raccoons. Everything here is different. The smell of the wind, the color of the dirt. Smell for elk, but there are none. I listen for the howls of a pack that might take me in, but at sundown I only hear the thin voices of crickets and toads. When I turn to search the horizon for my home ground, I cannot even see the mountains. I know where they should be, but I cannot see them. This open land has nothing to break it, no trees, no rivers, and no border marks of wolves. Everywhere I look, it smells the same. The ground is not completely flat. There are bumps, gullies, slowly rising land with stripes of rusty and sandy colored dirt, gently falling land with more streaks of black, brown, and red. The wind is so dry, the skin of my nose cracks. Grow stronger every day, stronger in my body. But the farther I get from the mountains, the harder it is to hold up my tail. There is no one here to care for and wrestle with and share smells with. No one to sing with. No tails to catch, no ears to nip, no one to sit shoulder to shoulder with and watch the wolf star as it rises before the sun. Even a summer night is cold when you sleep alone. Almost. After many days of walk, trot, eat, rest, we find something completely new. My raven, flying ahead as usual, appears to sit down in midair, not soaring on rising air, not hovering, sitting in the middle of the air. I approach slowly. A raven has her tricks, but as I get closer, I see she is sitting on a thin gray line. It runs straight like the rows of the mint field, straight like the black river. It must be a man thing. I crouch, growl, sniff. There is only a faint, long ago scent of men. I listen in every direction. Nothing. The air is still and the shadows are short. I come to the gray lines watchfully. My ravens poke at her feathers, shakes out her wings. There is no fear in her. I come closer. There are three lines of gray, low, middle, and high. Branches grow through the lines and stick into the ground. It is the oddest man thing yet. The lines catch tumbleweeds. Tumbleweeds. They make a roosting spot for birds. What man would need that? There is no understanding them. When I lean against the lines, they lean but do not fall. No matter, it is easy to jump over them. I am ready to move on when I catch a whiff of something familiar. I follow the lines until I find tufts of white sheep covering. I do not need such coyote food. We ate a rabbit yesterday, and if I can find water, I might take a deer while it is drinking. But there is another smell in with the sheep, a better smell. I nose along the lines until I find a tuft of fur. It is white, but not so fluffy as sheep covering. It is true fur, too long and too pale for deer or elk, wrong smell for fox or coyote. It is not a wolf smell, but it is a wolf-like smell. I have been so long away from my family. I throw back my head and howl. An answer comes, carried on the wind. It is not a howl, not a coyote's high-pitched yip. It is a deep voice and strange to my ear. Oof, oof, I answer without thinking. Here I am. Who are you? Oof, oof, ooh, the almost wolf calls back. I cannot quite catch the meaning. I call again. My tail is high in the air and wagging like a pup. I swivel my ears to pinpoint the sound. Oof, the almost wolf says. I do not dare. I do not care what that means. I take off running. As I draw closer, the smell becomes stronger. The confusing almost wolf smell of it drives me wild. If only it were not mixed in with sheep smells. I could remember if I have smelled it before. As I draw closer, the sheep smells grow stronger too. That could mean trouble. I slow down to make my run silent and pick my approach so the wind will not carry news of me. Ahead is a barn. My raven gives a warning caw. A noisemaker is sleeping beside the barn. I look, sniff for the source of the wolves. It is a she. I am nearly certain. If only there were not so many other smells to confuse me. The man smell grows as I get closer to the barn. If there is a wolf here, or an almost wolf, I should warn her. I should take her far away where she will be safe. Behind the barn are rows of gray lines. The almost wolf is inside the lines with a big pack of mother sheep and their pups. The almost wolf is looking right at me, whimpering and wagging. A man pup is inside the gray lines with her. It is touching the almost wolf. It is stroking her beautiful fur gently around the ears where mother used to lick me. It is not killing the almost wolf. Not even trying. The man pup does not have a lightning stick. There must be some trick. It looks my way, but it does not see me in the yellow and gray of the tall grass and rocky ground. Its tiny nose does not catch my scent. The mother sheep know I am here. They gather their pups under them and move as far from the almost wolf knows I am near too. Oof, oof, ooh! She tries to howl. She lowers her tail to ask me to come closer. She woofs and wags, circles away from the gray lines and back to them. She doesn't know any wolf words, not yet, but her body says come closer. It has been so long since I've had someone to speak with, to wrestle with, to run alongside. Far too long since I have had the company of another living thing curled up with me in the cold of night. She is oddly marked with white and sandy brown patches. I call to her again. The man pup jabbers like a toy to the almost wolf. It strokes her fur and she does not flinch. I want to stroke that fur too. I want the sound of her, the smell of her, the company of her on my travels. Come away with me. Jump the lines. She throws back her head and copies my howl. But she does not seem to know the meaning. Jump! It's not too high. You can do it. She copies my howl with no more. understanding. The man pup follows her away from the lines, and she obeys it. It is small. She could break away from its grasp with no effort at all. She could crush its bones in one bite. But she stays. Follow me, I call. I beat my front feet to the ground, laying out scent for her to follow. She wants to come. I see it in her wag, but she won't jump the lines. And then the barn door opens. My raven takes off, flying low and fast. A full-sized man comes out. It has a lightning stick. I am filled with horror. It calls to the almost wolf and goes to it, right up to it, lightning stick and all. I do not understand her. I want to call her away one last time, but it is not worth my life. I swallow my howl and all my loneliness with it and creep away. My scent is on the ground for the almost wolf to follow if she ever gains the courage. But for now, I am on my own, and come nightfall, even the moon is gone. Food. The thought of the man and his lightning stick haunts me as I run. Even the raven's company is little comfort. Dread and bitter memories push me onward. My feet fall into a rhythm, but the memory of the almost wolf won't let me go. I stop. I look back. She could have jumped that fence, could have come when I called her, but she let the man pup touch her. She lives surrounded by man smell. Maybe she learned their ways like the bachelor wolves learned the ways of the coyote. I am better off on my own, but I want her company just the same. And worrying over her, I miss my chance at getting a rabbit. My raven scolds me as she swoops circles around my head. I snarl at her even though I know she is right. When you only eat little things, you have to catch something every day. I keep up my pace, but sharpen my eyes so I will not miss the next meal. The land is drier now, not a tree in sight, and all I can smell is dust and cow pats. The slack skin over my belly reminds me of how long it has been since I ate deer and elk. Come sundown, my raven finds a roost, but I keep looking for food. Nothing comes by, not raccoons, not foxes, not even mice. I flop down beside the shrub where my raven is roosting and try to ignore my growling stomach. In the morning, I wait for my raven to scout for a meal. She flies in a broad circle and comes back. Nothing to report. She takes off again. I wait. A fat, juicy beetle waddles by right under my nose. I am never, never going to eat bugs again. I stand up and stretch. I search the sky for my raven. The heat of the day comes, and I am in the only shade I can see. I stay, and my hunger grows with the rising heat. The only living things I see are geese high overhead, and even they, with all their empty-headed honking, know better than to land here. The shadows grow long before the raven is back. She comes flying low and straight to me. She is glad of something. She circles me twice, lands at my feet, and bobs her head to me. It must be food. Food she can't open if she came all this way back for me. I take off at a run, and she leads the way. Hunger nibbles away at my speed. My raven circles back twice for me to catch up. But then, when the sun goes down, she finds a shrub and just puts her head over her wing as if the dark makes a difference. Who cares that the moon is gone? There is starlight, and nothing but dirt and cow pats to worry about here on the flat ground. I growl at my raven. She puffs up her feathers and caws in protest. Fine. I will find the meat she was taking me to on my own. There are no circling vultures in the sky to show where the meat is. My stomach is groaning. I lift up my head and complain to the stars. Nobody answers me. I go back to my raven and lie down under her roost, and even in my dreams I am hungry. My raven and I are up and running at first light. Dry ground rolls by under my paws. I watch my raven flying overhead as hungry as me. The pain in my shoulder is gone, and only the pain of hunger drives me on. The ground begins to rise, and above me I can smell the black river before I see it. I woof a warning to the raven, but she has no caution. She circles back and then urges me on. I go more slowly now, listening for men, breathing in the foul air that hangs in a cloud over the black river. But the raven is still urging me on. I follow her along the bank even as noisemakers whoosh by. There is a dead deer on the shore of the black river. My raven lands on the hide, hopping for joy. It is a full-grown buck with meat enough to feed a pack. The hunger I felt for days and days, ever since I ran from the mountain, roars up in me, and I am wild with it. I forget my sorrows, my loneliness, everything. I sink my teeth into the hide. I open the belly. There is no one to snatch the best bits out of my mouth. No one to make me watch while they eat all the richest meat. I take the whole liver and all the heart, feeling stronger with every bite. I strip skin and gulp muscle. Red runs down my chin. My belly fills until my skin is stretched tight. There is still meat left. It smells so good I want to roll in it. I am full and keep eating. The sun goes down and I eat still more. Finally, at last, when my hunger is gone and my fear of hunger gone with it, I look up. Only then do I see my raven eating beside me and hear the noisemakers still rushing by. Only then do I remember that my home is downstream and on the far side of this black river. Only then do I take a good look at the deer I have been eating. It is a full-grown buck with many prongs on its antlers. I always save the bones and their rich, savory centers for last. As I nose among the bones, I see that something is very wrong. Every rib is broken, not one cracked bone as happens in a fall. All the bones are shattered as if a huge boulder fell on the deer. There is no boulder beside the body and no cliff for one to fall from. There is a blow like nothing I have ever seen. Even the largest bear could not crush a deer like this. Curious now, I paw through the skin, looking for the tooth marks of the creature that killed this deer. If there is some new animal, something bigger and more dangerous than anything I know, I'm I must learn all I can about it. I find no puncture in the usual spot on the neck, nothing in the back of the head like a cougar strike, no bite mark around the lower leg like coyotes make, but in the skin of the belly there are chips of ice. But this ice is warm to the touch and sharper than a bobcat's claw. There are a few more pieces of not ice on the ground and even more on the bank. I have been ignoring the sound and stench of the Black River, but now I watch as a noisemaker goes by. It shakes the ground as it comes. It is so fast it makes a breeze in the still night air. I look at my raven and back at the trail of not ice. My raven bows her head to me as if to confirm what I fear. A noisemaker did this, crushed this deer in mid gallop, and kept going without stopping to eat, or even give a nod of thanks to the life that sustains all who run on four paws. Mother was right. There is no understanding men. I shudder at the thought that I ever set a foot on the Black River. I will never cross it again. My mountains are somewhere on the far shore, but I will never go home. I lift my head and call out to my lost family. I know they cannot hear me. Maybe none of them are left. Still, I call to them. I am here. I survived. No one answers. I drop my head, weary with sorrow. The raven leads me away from the Black River. I stumble after her to a cluster of birches and drop to the ground against their pale, smooth trunks. The raven speaks to me in a soft voice, but before I can work out what she has said, I lay down. But before I can work out what she has said, I lay down my head and dream of the mountains.